My favorite question I like to ask my guests, what are your favorite self-care practices?
Definitely tapping. And actually, Gala Darling was one of the first people that I really saw and got inspired with tapping. Tapping is always my go-to, but I've actually been really exploring breath work as well and the power of that and journaling. So I write pretty much in my journal every day and the journal that I created for clients as well as anyone, but it's the Explore Vibrate Manifestation Journal. And it just helps me understand my thoughts the first thing I do when I wake up. Because sometimes I wake up and it's like 20 million things are already in my head the moment I open my eyes. So having this practice to just sit and organize those thoughts is really helpful. So I would say journaling, tapping, exploring breath work, and I'm even going to add visualizing.
Yeah, I like that. It's funny because all those things I always have resistance towards, but when I do them, I have the most breakthroughs. I have a hard time doing all those things all the time. When I'm into journaling, I'm into journaling. And when I'm into breath work, I'm into breath work. It's like I have the certain times, even though I know they would be so helpful all together at once. I would love to know more about what has brought you into with the breath work a little more.
Yeah, I received the Natalia Benson bundle. And so that included the Awaken Breathwork app. And my husband has done breathwork before me. And when I see him do it, when he is really consistent in it, I really see the shifts and the breakthroughs that he has. But it's always been something that has been very intimidating. This year specifically, I just diving a little bit into astrology, but I have been dedicated to working on my wounded Chiron, which is in Gemini, and I have a lot of planets in my third house of communication. And so, like, this area of the throat, and I think just breath has been always a very scary place. So I've been very hesitant to attempt something like breath work because it seems like just an area that would activate something very vulnerable for me. This year has just been like that year of doing all the scary things when it comes to anything related around my throat and my breath. And the Awaken Breath app was a perfect way for me to test it out at home, not have to go to the commitment of a class where I could feel like I didn't have control or this sense of safety, even if it's led by somebody else. I just want to feel like, okay, I'm at home, I'm in my cocoon, and if I need to stop, like I can. And so that app really offered that to me. And just doing a few of the sessions, it was really wonderful. Some of them were intense. Some of them I'm just like bawling, crying out of nowhere, which is what breathwork can do. The nice segue into me just learning what my own pace is when it comes to breathwork. I think that's what's really important is when I notice the instructors and they're going quicker and deeper and faster. And I am starting to do that, but then it gets so uncomfortable that I can kind of tell myself like, hey, it's okay. Like I can go at my own pace too. Follow the instructions, but I'm still going to benefit with however I do this. That has been my intro into breathwork this year.
Yeah, like you bringing the idea of using that in Gemini and kind of working through. Mine's in Taurus, and so I have
Mm.
found that my 10th house, my MC is also in Taurus, and so I'm really trying to live in a world of groundedness, and breathwork helps me with that as well because it gets me grounded in my body. I did also get the super bundle as
The super
well, and
bundle,
so
yes.
yeah,
It's
and it was
helpful.
like it gives you a taste of everything, and that's kinda what I was looking for. I was in some other communities, and I loved them, but they were very specified, like, astrology, and it was helpful for me to get a better idea, but this kinda lets you dabble a little bit in everything. But I recently went to a retreat that was based on breath work. Think if I hadn't won a gift card that paid for part of it, I don't know if I would have chose that one, but it was so life-changing, and the experience I had while I was there was also like life-changing. I had some things that I didn't realize was affecting me and just showing up in, what I want to do and who I want to be. I love that you have that breath work. And I think there's so many people that resist meditation. And so then my next thing to tell them is try breath work because you have
Yeah.
to do it. Meditation's so hard because some people just don't really know how to be with themselves, and the breath work is giving you something to do, and it just moves that energy or it slows down the energy. Like, you can manipulate it in any way that you want. I do have a commitment that I have to do something from my spiritual toolbox every day. Something's being done, journaling, meditation, and I usually do 2 of them, but for some reason, breathwork's on the back burner a little bit. But things like this usually
Spark
get
it
me
back
back
on
on
again.
track.
That's a really great point, 'cause and that's what tapping was for me. I bet tapping almost allowed me to move into the possibility of breath work, because I definitely was one of those people that resisted meditation. My husband, when he started working for a company, the company offered complimentary TM meditation training for all of their employees. And because my husband was a part of the beginning stages of this startup, I was able to join and do the TM, intro of like going in, getting your mantra, and then like you do the classes there. I was like crawling out of my skin. I was so angry. I was so resistant. I literally had to leave the class. Like, the person who was teaching me, go in a separate room with me and do the meditation with me, because I couldn't be with the group. I was so resistant. It didn't feel good to me. And I think that's why there's so much power in just going through and exploring different modalities now, like the breath work, tapping, meditation, all the different types of meditation, visualization, just to test them all out, because some of them are not going to be like your cup of tea. And for me, TM, I tried so hard. I tried for like a year, and my husband loves it. Like, he has, to this day, every single morning meditated in the TM way. And so when I found tapping, and it was this like feeling of, oh, I can move my body, like I can tap and like have my body be here, as it's a form of almost meditation and consciously speaking and release. It was like the holy grail for me. And
Yeah.
I think it opened up this other door of just trying different things.
So many people are like, "This is the thing I need to do from now on out," and it's like, well, there's something for us in every season of our life, of our cycle, like, whatever it is, and just be open to it, and, yeah, knowing that, okay, well, I might be hard on myself that I'm not doing breath work right now, but when I know I need it, I'll be doing it. Yeah, and I recently had someone close to me where someone close to them was like, "You need to meditate in the morning," and I was like, "Hey, how about maybe I teach you some breath work to do in the morning if you're having that resistance." This was someone younger, and I was like, "There's no way that I'd be able to sit in meditation as like a preteen," you know what I mean? I don't think I
Yeah.
could do it.
Yeah.
Having things like tapping and breath work, I think, is beautiful. I'd like to know a little bit more about the journal that you mentioned.
I have it right
Yeah.
here. It's a morning and evening reflection journal. So just as I open it up, but there's morning, there's evening, and then as well as the 12 months. The journal in itself is technically a 30-day practice along with the 12 months, but there's an option to put the date up top for not only the morning, but also the evening. So if you just do the morning, then that's okay. So many times, it just happened this morning. Like, I didn't do the evening for yesterday. On the next day, and with the evening page, I just wrote morning and evening reflection and put the day's date. I've just had so many journals where if it was like the year and it had the date, and if I missed the day, I would miss a whole month. It was just like that resistance of coming back to it. So when I created it, I really wanted it to be the flexibility, the openness of like, don't shame yourself if you didn't show up today. Life happens. More just when you're ready, it's there, and you have the whole year to do it. So I created it when I was actually, let's see here, I think I was reading Ask and It Is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks again, and just the things that was coming up. And I was working with another manifestation journal at that time, and my mind just kind of exploded into this baby. And my work with what I do with emotions, understanding vibration, seeing that emotions and vibrations we are vibrating our emotion. And I was like, these are so linked, and there's not a reflection journal out there that really combines both of them. So with everything I knew with going through tapping certification, learning about emotions, and then now reading this book that was bringing in the manifestation portion, I was like, I need to create this. Like, I need to create something where people can really become aware of their emotions so that they know what they're vibrating, because what they're vibrating is what they're manifesting, and that's what's showing up in their life. And I didn't even realize it when I was creating it. I was just so passionate about it that I was like, this is a perfect workbook for my current one-to-one clients in doing the work at home, because like this is what I'm helping them with. So in all of my packages, it's just included in the package. Okay, you want homework? Like, use your journal and come back if you have questions. And in supporting the journal, every month I do a free live over Zoom, and we do all of the monthly questions together as well as tapping. So just really trying to create community around it so that people can come and just share this journal together. And you don't have to have a journal to do it, but it's fun because when we are going through those questions, so it's just that link of connection.
I love that. And I'm actually going to see Abraham in person next month.
So awesome that you're going to go see them in person. Someone else actually in High Vibe Honey I connected with, and she was telling me, I didn't realize that they did things in person. And so that might be one of my commitments for myself this year, is to go see them in person.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny. They're not by where I live. And so I put a couple dates on my vision board that I was like, okay, if it works out. Well, I ended up planning a trip with my family to go visit family. And I realized like I booked the flights and I was just literally sitting there in meditation and was like, oh my gosh, I am going to be in the city they're gonna be at. So I went to my husband and I'm like, I have to. Like, it's on my vision board. I swear I did not plan this trip around seeing them, but like, how can I not? And so I'm really excited. It's a bucket list. They actually do cruises. And I was like, how cool would that be? In like New Zealand. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not right now, but maybe in the future. I'll put it on my vision board and we'll see how soon that comes to fruition. Yeah, I'm really excited. I actually reached out to them and was like, hey, any chance you'd like to give me like a quote or two for my podcast? And they were like, no. And I was like, it's worth asking, right? I asked, it was not
You
given.
did ask. You did ask. You did ask. Then it would be, what was the vibration when you asked? How were you
No.
feeling when you asked?
I-
But at least you did. Yeah, that
did.
takes courage.
There is like this whole disclaimer, like no video, no audio. You are not allowed to do anything like that during the actual workshop. And I was like, I figured. So we went to a comedy show that was like that, where like they're like, if we see your phone, you will immediately be kicked out. And I was like, well, I paid a lot of money for these tickets. I do not want that to happen.
I'm excited to
Oh.
hear your experience afterwards.
Welcome to Float Activity, the channel that guides you on a transformative journey towards spiritual wisdom, self-development, and healing practices, all aimed at elevating your intuition and aligning you with your soul's purpose. I'm your host, Kara Dempsey, and I'm thrilled to have you joining me as we learn together. Please subscribe and share this with a friend to help grow my channel. I appreciate you, and we'll chat soon.